Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Wednesday and welcome to Introduction to the Runes. We are going to go about exploring the runes, taking them one at a time on a weekly basis. And this week we'll begin with just a bit of basic information just to lay the groundwork going forward. The runes are mentioned in Norse lore, and there are rune stones that do still exist. That much is universally acknowledged. But past that point, that's where we swiftly run into controversy. Nothing new there. There are some schools of thought, shockingly some amongst pagans, who will absolutely die on the hill that the runes are just an alphabet system, nothing more, no spiritual or magical significance whatsoever. And they will stick to their guns on that. And then there are others who will point to the lore in which runes are mentioned in conjunction with magic and divination and the fact that Odin did hang himself upside down on a tree for 9 days in order to get them, and how this points to runes are certainly used for magical and spiritual purposes in the present day, and that surely mirrors some aspect of the past. And this school of thought definitely dismisses the arguments that this is just an alphabet. Personally, I began using the runes before I had any awareness of the controversy surrounding them, and they have provided very accurate and insightful readings for me, much more so than my tarot cards. The runes give it to you straight. If you can't take bluntness, this is not a form of divination you will do well with. But if you like to have just things as they are, you will react well to it. And each reading gives you enough information to digest while you decide on how to interpret it and what to do next. So the bottom line is that for me, by the time I had heard the arguments, it was already too late. Personal experience had demonstrated, more than demonstrated really, the magical and spiritual properties of the runes to my own satisfaction. Naturally, I don't expect that to be considered proof to anyone else. Definitely do your research, try the runes out for yourself, form your own conclusions. But my personal experience is just so vivid that it's enough for me to really dispense with giving the arguments for or against any real attention. The issue is already settled in my mind. And that's one thing that I think we forget as pagans, that if we really have proven something enough to our own satisfaction, we don't actually have to get into the controversies unless we feel pulled towards them. And again, as always, it is up to each individual to examine the matter for themselves and to draw their own conclusions. That's what being pagan is all about. So the origins of the runes is a tale of many stories. As I alluded to earlier in the lore, it is believed that Odin was given the wisdom of the runes after he was hanging upon Yggdrasil for 9 days. Then we have scholars who take the view that runes might be based upon earlier forms of writing, possibly being a hybrid of shamanic symbols and older alphabets. The root word of rune is thought to come from the Proto-Germanic root word run, which means secret, whisper, and mystery. The characters of runes are called staves, and sometimes the runes as a whole are called futhark, and there's an elder futhark and a younger futhark. The runes we'll be discussing are the elder futhark. One thing at a time, gang. And each stave can be used to spell out different words, but they also have individual self-contained meanings. The runes are divided into groups called æts, or families, and each group consists of 8. The first is Freya's 8, which takes us from Fehu through Wunjo, and all of these runes are associated with fertility deities. The second is Hagal's 8, which is Hagalaz through Sawilo, associated with more protective deities. And the third is Tyr's 8, which is Tiwaz through Dagaz, associated with deities that relate to justice and order. And now there is the issue of the blank rune. Ooh. It is a modern addition, and for some people that's enough to criticize it. Others think that it's okay for this to be part of the evolution. They don't have an issue with it. Others find it just wholly inappropriate to use. The rune itself is sometimes called weird, representing fate, or sometimes it's called the Odin rune, representing divine foresight and mystery. It is entirely optional whether or not a person uses this rune. Personally, I don't really have an issue. I use it. It was part of the rune set. It's been part of some very good readings. I don't really see a problem, but that's me. And if the thought of using this addition to the runes makes someone just break out in hives, then of course they should just omit it. It is a completely personal decision. There is no right or wrong about it. One of the ways I've come to think of the runes is them being individual strands of the web of the weird, connected to all things, representing their own form of energy, and being a pathway in the overall journey of life. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with each individual rune in the coming weeks and just seeing where this journey takes us. After all, anything that was worth the Allfather going to the trouble of hanging upside down on the world tree for 9 days is surely worthy of our attention. And yes, we are working with imperfect and disputed information. So what? What else is new? We are living in an exciting period of time. We are in the process of not just discovery, but also experimentation. How can we take these ideas, apply them, and what are the results from that? And the generation of pagans now living are playing a huge role in laying the foundation for what paganism is going to be consisting of, philosophically and practically. 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. It's an amazing privilege. And I think sometimes we are a little bit blind to the blessings that we have in our own time period. But that aside, next week we will start with Fehu. So I hope you will come back for that. And I hope you will come back to discuss this whole journey of the runes, share your own experiences, what your research has turned up. I would love to hear about it, not just in the comment section on this video, but also on our Gilded group. And if you're interested in joining, there is a link to join us in the description box below. You'd be very welcome. I would love to geek out with you over this. So I hope to see you soon. But that'll do it for now, and I will see you next time. Bye.